Hey guys, Dr. Klein from Rimrock Wellness Center. We're going to be talking about the weighted exercises today. And the first one we're going to go over this is shoulder press. So pretty much you're going to be familiar with all these exercises. We're just going to hack them slightly so you can strengthen your spine when you're working your extremities and your arms and everything else. So normally with the shoulder press, what we'll see is, the knees tend to be bent 90 or even less, more acute than that. And then we also see people leaning back, doing a lot of arching, because more of our power is here when we're doing heavier weights. And I know I got 5 little girly pound weights, but that's all I have at home, so I'll just deal with it. But with lesser weight, we're going to be able to activate our spine a little bit better. So we're not trying to arch here where we're too strong, and then our head pulls back, our upper traps get overdeveloped. You see those guys walking around. Their spine, they're very strong guys, but their spines can be weak as well. So we're going to work on strengthening the spine. So first, get those knees 90 or more. So you might want to watch some of the other videos on how to activate your hip hinge. That's important for this one. We're creating a strong foundation by locking those hips into the sockets and getting our torso up over top of them. So if you're looking in the mirror, relatively the shoulder and the hip are going to be a straight line. And we're going to drive upwards from there. So you start with your shoulders externally rotated. You don't really want to go too low, so you start them here. And you want to really press up, pull yourself forward. So as your hips pull forward, you kind of push your head back. That creates that good torsion. So we're keeping this really tight, driving the head back. So the chest is really broad. So I'm not doing a lot of arching when I go back. I'm really tightening in here so I can't do too much extension. I'm adding the extension, but after I've activated the hip hinge and I've created tightness in the core. So when I come up, you should almost feel like you get a little shakiness at the top. Right there, where everything's kind of really fighting against each other. That way you're stretching a lot of those tight muscles while driving your shoulder blades down. This is hard to visualize because the arms are going up, so you think the shoulders are rising. And they do in this position, but when we're coming into this position, the shoulder blades actually get driven downwards. Don't forget your breathing, really fight for that last little bit there. You'll feel your shoulders press into the sockets at the top. As we're squeezing here, we're then allowing that to squeeze, and the spine is lengthening in the middle. So I'm feeling a really good stretch in my spine as I'm doing that. So normally I'll do 10 because I don't want to fatigue my muscles too much. The more we do, we tend to get lazy. We focus on the numbers instead of our form. So 10 of those. And then we move into curls. When we're doing curls, lighter weight or bars, we tend to hunch a little bit when we do it. So same idea, we're trying to activate that hip hinge. So that's really important to understand how that hip hinge works. Like tighten that, broadening the chest. So what I do is I do one at a time. I use one side to anchor me down, pull my chest up. I'm curling the other side. That way, my posture's not going to fail. And you can mess around with that as you want, getting your weight in your heels. You can do both sides if you want. Definitely with a bar, you'll notice your weight might shift unnaturally because one side is your stronger side. We all have a stronger side is going to take over. So this way, if we're doing one at a time, each side is going to be working equally. So really try to squeeze, lengthen your spine with each rep. Squeeze, and you'll notice that kind of creates a little torsion in your spine. Don't let the elbows go out too far. Keep everything kind of hugged in at the side. Curl's pretty easy. Next, I like the Bulgarian split squat. Usually you'll have your foot up like this. That's a little advanced for a lot of people, and the knee tends to go forward. That puts a lot of pressure in the knee. So generally when I try to do it, is I try to go almost like we're doing a reverse squat, keeping that knee behind that ankle. And then tightening, the same thing, keeping the weight in the hinges. So we're not shifting forward, we're dropping straight down. The other way to do this is one leg in front, split squat here. You're tightening. As you tighten that hip hinge in, you notice the chest will come up a little bit. Give you a better angle so you can see that. Tightening, broadening the chest. Same idea. We're not letting the knee go forward. We're almost doing a reverse lunge, going that direction. If you can't get as deep, there you go. Just like that. Really letting the weights pull your shoulders down as you drive your head up, almost like you're pulling your head out of a turtle shell. You might notice one side a little weaker than the other. This is a good one to fix some of your imbalances side to side. Another way to think about this too, if you pull your arms here, you don't want to round to get those weights down. You're just moving at the hips. So to practice that, almost get yourself here, and instead of touching that knee, use your hip hinge to bring it to the knee. Just like that. That's a good little one to do even without weights. It can be pretty tough. Switch it up to the other side. Tightening, broadening the chest, hinging down. Hinging down. Knee doesn't go forward. So you feel the pressure going on the knee. Here we actually, you're going to feel a lot in your hamstrings. It's going to tense up. Even though I'm not doing a lot of weight, I'm getting out of breath just because even without weight, these are tough to do. That was a split squat. Next one, we're actually do squats. Put the weights up here. I tend to do something like this because I like to put them right in my upper traps. And usually my grip is pretty tired. So instead of holding the weight some more, I give my hands a break. Get them up here. So with most squats, people put their knees a little too forward, and we start the motion at our pelvis and our spine instead of at our hips. So it's not about how deep you can go into this squat. Just try to force your weight back into your heels, starting the motion more at your hip joint and less at your spine. You might notice that you need to fight for it a little bit, get a little deeper every time. Keep your core really tight, your weight back. Try not to let your knees go forward. Get a little deeper as you go. You need to warm those hips up to it. Usually a good little bit of walking, inclined walking will prepare you for the squat. Even on that last one, I felt my pressure going. My knees a little too much. So let's work on that. We don't want our knees going too forward. We want to try to keep our weight a little more shifted back, where you can pick those toes up and grab the ground with arches. Fight for that. We're almost ready. You can feel like you're going to fall backwards. It's okay if you fail like I just did, as long as you're working on it. We're going to go over reverse fly now. The reverse fly is all about squeezing those shoulder blades in. But we also want to set our core in, so we're not doing the same problem we're talking about when we're doing the shoulder press. We don't want to be arching at all. Get those shoulder blades in. Yeah, I can squeeze those shoulder blades in a lot when I arch, but again, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're disengaged here. So we're really going to set our hip hinge up again. Big toes together, heels apart, squeezing those inner thighs, really tightening, lengthening the chest. Now I can't get my shoulder blades squeezed as much, but I really feel that lengthening happen in the spine. So again, we're going to pitch forward, hinging at the hips, driving ourselves down. You can do this a couple ways. I like to do, as I squeeze my shoulder blades, I drive in at the hips at the same time. So that way I know I'm not robbing from my hips to get better squeeze in my shoulder blades because I'm doing them at the same time. So you could do little reps like that, or you could just hinge down and muscle through them in a hinge position. I like to combine both the core with the reverse fly. Elbows at the side, you don't want them at the side, coming out because then you're going to hit your deltoid too much. It's all about isolating that rhomboid muscle and having the spine stretch in the middle. Next is the deadlift. Really good one if you do it. It's really going to help you with your hip hinge. A lot of people start pretty good with their hinge and then notice their neck bends. So treat your neck like it's part of your spine because it is part of your spine. So grabbing, pressing back. Same thing almost as the squat. Starting that motion at the hips. You don't have to have the weights out here. You just keep them there. Really keep your chest broad as you go down. You'll hit that point where your hamstrings just won't let you go anymore. So it's better to just stay right here by the knee. Fight for a little bit more every time where you're going to fall backwards. And just muscle through that. Really make it strict. It's not about getting to the floor because then you tend to bend round at the back. We don't want that. So it's all about little motions. Really fighting for that hip strength. Where you start shaking, that's when you reach that end and you just fight for a little bit more. Squeeze. What I'm doing is I'm squeezing my inner thighs a little bit. So change the angle for you. Light squeeze at the top. As I go down, I really squeeze. Fight for a little bit more. The more weight you have, that's going to help you too, because it's going to pull you down. add extra tension to your hamstring. So you should really feel quad firing, hip flexor firing, lots of tension on that hamstring, getting stretched out.